Welcome to another edition of Two Old Farts. I'm Mike Waco. This is Tom Rosenfield. We're here to tell it like it is, baby.
19 states have seceded.
The United States Army ramps up activity.
The White House issued warnings to the Western forces as well as the Florida Alliance.
The three-term president assures the uprising will be dealt with swiftly.
It's the blockbuster that no one really saw coming. Civil War, surprising account of what would happen if there was another civil war in the United States.
Are you guys aware there's like a pretty huge civil war going on all across America?
We just try to stay out. With what we see on the news, seems like it's for the best.
Tom, let's start with you, man. You were surprised, as I was, going into this, going like, what the hell, man? It's going to be horrible.
This is one of those classic situations, I think it happens all the time, where the trailer does not do the movie justice. In fact, it derails you in what you think this movie is about, right?
One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There's a prevailing attitude in the country all about the conservatives versus the liberals. And this movie was trying to play off of that and go, hey, what would happen if this logjam in the Congress turned out to be a logjam in society and we all started fighting each other and it came to a civil war? That's the conceit that I think they're trying to get across in the trailer. That's not what's happening in the movie.
We're moving to D.C. today.
We need to go down there.
They shoot journalists on sight in the Capitol. Every instinct in me says this is death.
Let's break it down. I mean, this was exactly what you just said. This is a story about a civil war, but it's more a story about four journalists, photojournalists or war journalists that go in and cover the action. And it's kind of their story, and the war is happening around them.
Every time I survived the war zone, I thought I was sending a warning home. Don't do this. But here we are.
It's more about them than it is about this ideological rift in the country. So that's why I think it's, you get half an hour into this movie and you realize, oh, it isn't about Trump versus Biden. It isn't about, that's not what it is. It is about this family of journalists.
Citizens of America, the so-called Western forces of Texas and California have suffered a very great defeat at the hands of the United States military.
Who's at war with who? I didn't get that. I didn't understand that. It wasn't set up well enough. It could have easily drawn in to who's on which side. It's California and Texas joining forces on the Western Front to attack the government. That's all I got. Did you get more?
No, and it is that is a flawed premise, right? Let's say the Western forces are typically going to be your liberal forces, right? And the DC forces are going to be your conservative forces. Why would California and Texas team up? They'd be opposite blue and red.
But they didn't talk about that. Like,
They
talk
didn't.
about it. Give me where did this come from? Give me some back history. Are they like, oh, let's wait until the sequel and then we'll explore some more? No, give me more. If you're going to start a civil war, I want to know how it started, who's on which side, and what are they fighting for?
Will be welcomed back to these United States as soon as their illegal secessionist government is deposed.
I did like when they're screaming in pain and they're screaming in horror and all we're hearing is very cool music or very cool sound design, or we're seeing the beautiful sparks fly through the forest. It's a beautifully made movie. There's some beauty in it that I think really visually and auditorially. So I agree. I thought the soundtrack was great. I thought the sound design was great. I thought the visuals were great. Well-made movie, and that's why I didn't walk out, because I would have walked out had I expected what I expected.
No, you can't walk out. You are a reviewer, Tom. Reviewers stay until the end.
Fair point. I'm letting you see the inner moviegoer in me is what I'm letting you see.
Once you start asking yourself those questions, you can't stop. So we don't ask. We record so other people ask. Want to be a journalist? That's the job.
Let's not get past the fact that Kirsten Dunst, who I don't think of as a heavyweight actress, despite the fact that she's done some drama, is doing a really nice piece of acting, dramatic acting in this movie that I don't think she had in her. And I'm really impressed. I was really impressed by it.
Here's my thing with Kristen Dunst. Listen, she was the sweetheart, Spider-Man, all these things. Bring it on. Good looking, kind of hot girlfriend type of thing. She has embraced, I don't want to say this because she's still beautiful, but she has embraced her age in this. And she looks like she's ragged. She's like been around the block a couple of times in this movie that represented like a photojournalist who's a veteran, who's been around, who shows her wares on her sleeves.
There is no version of this that isn't a mistake. I know, because I'm it. Joe and Sammy are it.
It's my choice.
Right. And I'll remember that when you lose your shit, or you get blown up, or shot.
Let's wrap this up. Listen, I thought this movie was much better than I thought. It held my interest. There were some flaws during it.
I walked in thinking one thing. I walked out, it was something else. That something else was good for me. It just wasn't the thing I wanted it to be. So yes, did I like this movie? I did. I had grander aspirations for it, and I'm bummed it didn't supply them.
I would say, I would say midway, a little bit higher, maybe a 7.
I might go a little higher than midway. I think it is worth it. I think it's a good movie. It's just not the movie we expected, but a good enough movie to enjoy. Great performances, great art direction, great craftsmanship, good director. Go see it.
Thanks for watching another edition of Two Old Farts. If you can, please follow, subscribe, and like the Showbiz Syndicate, and check out other reviews and stories. We are humbled and honored you chose us.